Hi guys, welcome to another video where I'll be discussing, you guessed it, all things books. My name is Patrice and the plan is to talk about and review the things I've read recently. I have 3 books I'll be discussing today. The first is Come Shell or Highwater by Molly MacRae. This is the debut in her A Haunted Shell Shop series. We're introduced to Maureen Nash, a folklorist and expert in studying shells. Maureen decides to travel to Ocracoke Island after she discovers letters that were sent to her late husband from the owner of a shell shop on the island. Once she arrives, she stumbles over the dead body of the shop owner, gets amnesia, and meets the ghost of a Welsh pirate. With the help of the ghost and a local brother-sister amateur sleuth team, she sets out to solve the murder. So the things I liked about the book was that it was set in North Carolina, and I also liked that there were plenty of red herrings to keep you guessing about who the murderer was. And the characters were likable, but I didn't like there were so many things going on in the story. So first you get the dead body, then you have a ghost, then you have the mystery of how her husband is attached to this shell shop owner, and it was just all over the place and a little bit too much. And I also didn't like we kept going back and forth between how she got amnesia and what was going on with her getting her memory back, and it just seemed like it took too long to tie up the loose ends with her amnesia. And we also had lots of backstory about the ghosts, and it's I know this is an introductory story, but we didn't need that information about how he died and all that stuff. It wasn't pertinent to the mystery. So overall, I would give this a 2.5 out of 5. That's what I would give it. Next is Murder in Rose Hill by Victoria Thompson. This is the newest installment in the Gaslight Mystery series. Midwife Sarah Malloy and her private detective husband Frank investigate the death of Louisa Rogers, a determined young woman writing an article about medicinal scams for New Century magazine. As they continue their investigation, they find nothing is as it seems, and they have to figure out if Louisa was the scam artist before they can solve her murder. So, the likes. This is one of my favorite cozy mystery series. This is book number 27, and whenever she drops a new one, I immediately go out and get it. The books are well written, the characters are likable, I'm invested in their personal and professional plot development. It's just a great series if you're looking for one, if you like cozy mysteries and you're looking for one to pick up. Now, the dislikes. So this case wasn't as interesting as some of the previous installments. And the main characters, this time they were a little slow in putting together what was going on. They overlooked obvious clues. I knew who did it. I could guess. And I just didn't know what took them so long getting there. But overall, I'll give this a 4 out of 5 stars because it's just such a great series. Last, we have All This and More by Peng. This is the second book I've read by this writer. The first was The Cartographers. In this story, we meet Marsh, a 45-year-old desperate for a life do-over. She's selected to be the star of a global sensation reality TV show, All This and More, which uses quantum technology to allow contestants to revise their past and change their present lives. Through a series of twists and turns, Marsh begins to worry that all the show promises might be too good to be true. So you guys, this book is fire. I loved it. So I'm telling you right now, 5 stars. 5 stars. I loved it. So the first thing that I liked about it is that it's a modern day pick your own adventure book, but for adults. The reader gets to decide some of the paths that Marsh takes in the story, and it's so well done. I loved it. very intriguing premise. Like, who wouldn't want to go back and change, you know, some things in your life that you feel like you messed up? But would you really want to do it? You know, like, would things get even messier if you went back and changed some things? So it just makes you think, like, if you had the chance, would you really do it? Next, I like the writer was able to pull off this complicated style of writing. So this could have gone horribly, horribly wrong. But I think it didn't, because the writer, she didn't give us too many choices. So you ended up ultimately in the same point in the story, no matter what you picked, because she didn't give you like 5 million options. The options that you did get to pick, you ended up like in the same point or place in the story, because she is actually still telling a story even though she's giving you choices and options. Next, the magic in this book was much better explained than the magic that was in the cartographers. So that made it a little bit easier to follow along. And I like at the end that the ending wasn't neat. Marsh didn't get a perfect happy ending. Life isn't perfect, so you know, there were still some questions surrounding the choices she did end up making, and you know, whatever you picked, and at the end, you know, you could still think about like, okay, but was this better? Like her going back and fixing and changing stuff, like did she end up really having a better life? So I like that part too. No happy, neat ending. Some of the things I didn't like, even though the magic was better explained, like I still have some questions surrounding some of the magic. So for example, the way that they use the quantum technology, like some people were stuck, they call it the bubble of the technology, and I wanted to know like if those people ever got out or what happened to them. Did they get their memories back? And just like sort of like how time works with the magic. Like, are you aging as you're in this bubble, or what? Like what goes on with that? And then I just felt like the writer, she left us with some questions in order to revisit the story. So maybe in a sequel or another book. But overall, this was a 5 out of 5. I loved it, and I think you should pick it up, definitely. That's the end of this video. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you think in the comments. And once again, thanks for watching.